I didn't give birth in peace. I gave birth into a war. Not with bombs, not with bullets, but with words. Whispers behind closed doors. Questions asked in sweet tones that dripped with poison. They said I should rest. They said I looked tired. They said I was too sensitive. But what they meant was, "You're not strong enough to raise him." My son was barely a week old when she tried to hold him longer than I was comfortable with. When she said things like, "Babies feel safer with experienced hands." When she called him her boy, not mine. And my husband? He smiled. He said, "She doesn't mean anything by it." He told me to be patient. That she just wants to help. But help doesn't come with judgment. Help doesn't come with control. I tried to speak. To explain how I felt unseen in my own home. But every time I opened my mouth, I felt the air shift. Like the walls were listening. Like my voice didn't belong there anymore. I breastfeed behind closed doors. I cried in the shower. I counted the minutes I held my own child. And yet, somehow, I was still the one they said was too distant. She started calling herself Mama when she rocked him. She corrected people when they called me the mother. And when I looked to my husband for help, he looked away. That's when I realized this wasn't a home. It was a courtroom. And I was already on trial. They didn't raise their voices. They didn't slam doors. They didn't hit me. No. They wanted to break me quietly. With glances. With comments that sounded like compliments. With silence at the dinner table. When I spoke about my son's first smile, she told me I looked tired. Every day. Even when I wasn't. She offered to take the baby at night. So I could sleep. Then whispered to my husband that I was too weak to handle motherhood. I started to question myself. Maybe I wasn't doing enough. Maybe I was too emotional. Maybe I was the problem. That's how it works, isn't it? They don't cut you open. They make you hand them the knife. One night, I heard her through the door, telling him she should be listed as guardian. Just in case something happens to Samira. Just in case. I walked into the kitchen that morning. And she smiled like nothing happened. She handed me a cup of tea. As if it didn't taste like betrayal. They made plans in whispers. They gaslit me in plain sight. They stripped away my motherhood, thread by thread. And every day, I disappeared a little more. Until one night, when I woke up and found the crib empty. The crib was empty. And for a full 10 seconds, I thought my baby had died. My hands shook as I tore through the hallway. My voice cracked as I screamed his name. His name. The one I whispered to him before sleep. The one I had chosen alone. I found them in the living room. Her. Rocking him slowly. Like she had all the time in the world. Like I didn't exist. She looked at me and said, "He sleeps better with me. You always wake him up with your anxiety." I reached for him. She pulled back. And I saw it. For the first time without the mask. Control. Territorial hunger. Possession. She didn't want to help me. She wanted to replace me. My husband walked in. And didn't say a word. Not to her. Not to me. He just watched. And I knew. I was alone in that house. Alone with people who didn't see me as his mother anymore. That night, I packed a bag, took my baby, left a note. Not out of rage, out of instinct. The kind of instinct that roars inside a mother when someone tries to take what was born from her body. The next morning, she filed for emergency custody. She said I was unstable, that I had run away, that I was a danger to the child. And suddenly, I wasn't just fighting for peace. I was fighting for my child. In court. On paper. With evidence, not tears. Because in this world, a woman's pain is not enough. You have to prove it. They thought I wouldn't show up. That I'd be too ashamed. Too weak. Too broken. But I came. I stood tall. And I brought everything. I brought hospital records. Feeding logs. My therapist's notes. Text messages. Voice recordings. Not because I wanted to. Because I had to. In this world, a mother has to document her love. To prove it's real. She wore white to court. Pearls around her neck. She held a tissue. But never cried. She told the judge. I was overwhelmed. Disconnected. Possibly depressed. She called herself a lifeline. A necessary support system. But the truth? She never asked me if I was okay. She never sat beside me at 3 a.m. when the baby wouldn't sleep. She never handed me water after I bled for hours during birth. She wanted the child. Not the burden of raising him. Just the title. Just the control. The judge asked me to speak. And for a moment, my voice trembled. But I remembered something my grandmother once said. A lioness doesn't roar to be heard. She roars to be feared. So I spoke. About the silence. About the games. About the slow erasure of my place as a mother. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I told the truth. And that was enough. There's a moment when exhaustion becomes something else. When it doesn't just make you tired. It makes you hollow. That's what she wanted. Not for me to collapse. But to surrender. To hand her the baby. Because I just couldn't take it anymore. She knew I was isolated. She knew I hadn't spoken to my family in months. She made sure of it. Little fights here and there. Subtle insults about my upbringing. They don't understand our culture. Until I stopped calling home. She cut my roots. So I'd forget who I was. Before I became his wife, her daughter-in-law, the silent one in the corner. One day, I stood in the mirror and didn't recognize my reflection. My skin was pale. My eyes were heavy. And I hadn't laughed in weeks. That day, I almost handed her my baby. Almost. Because it would have been easier to stop fighting. To give in. To sleep. To be empty. But something inside me screamed. Not a whisper. Not a plea. A scream. From my bones, from my blood. From the deep place only mothers know. No. He is mine. And I will not be erased. I held him so tight. He started to cry. And that cry pulled me back into myself. That cry reminded me. I was not just a shell. I was his world. And I had to fight like it. The final hearing felt like a storm that had waited too long to break. Everything was too still. The air too quiet. But my chest was thunder. They brought in a new lawyer. Clean suit. Confident smile. He said I had emotional instability. He questioned why I didn't have more friends. Why I took long showers. Why I journaled at night. He said it all like it was evidence. And then they called her to the stand. She walked like she was entering a wedding. Not a trial. She spoke calmly. Deliberately. With the smile of someone who thought she'd already won. She said, I just want what's best for the child. And that's when it hit me. She never said my child. Never said Samira's baby. Just the child. Like he belonged to the heir. To the family. To everyone but me. The judge turned to me. And I didn't flinch. I told them what she said behind closed doors. What she did when no one else saw. I showed messages. I read my journal aloud. I described nights holding my baby. While listening to her plan how to take him from me. I told them the truth. Even the parts that made me look weak. Especially those parts. Because strength isn't pretending you were never hurt. It's standing in the pain and saying, you don't get to silence me anymore. When I finished, the courtroom was still. No one clapped. No one gasped. But I could feel it. The shift. The truth echoing. Settling into the walls like smoke. They ruled in my favor. But this wasn't about winning. Not really. It was about reclaiming something. They tried to take from me. Without ever laying a hand. She didn't lose custody. She lost control. She lost access. She lost the power she held over my silence. And that was what truly broke her. I moved into a small apartment. Just me and my son. No portraits on the wall. No voices telling me I was wrong. Just us. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that finally felt like peace. He laughed for the first time there. Really laughed. Not just a baby giggle. A belly laugh. That echoed through the empty kitchen. And filled the air with something holy. Sometimes, I still hear her voice. In the back of my mind. Critiquing. Questioning. But I talk back now. You don't live here anymore. You never really did. I sent photos to my lawyer. Not to prove anything. Just to say thank you. Because no woman should have to build a case. To prove she loves her own child. I'm not the same Samira Noor who walked into that courtroom. I'm not the same woman who tried to be liked. Who kept peace by erasing herself. I am a mother. I am a fighter. And I remember who I am now.